Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, here every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific time, 11 p.m. Eastern time. Here to talk all things professional wrestling, rumors, weekly news roundups, action, inside, outside of the ring, reports on, superstars and stuff like that. This podcast is, your trust, your number one trust guy. It's this guy from, to get all your cool wrestling stuff. So, yeah, I hope you guys had an amazing weekend. Mine was a little longer, but, not by choice. Yesterday, my internet went down, always fun. Then you got to wait for the cable guy to come. Oh, God, it was, it was a doozy. It was a doozy. But ultimately, I am back. Hope you guys had an amazing, blessed weekend. So, yeah, let's go ahead and do it. Thank you so much for tuning in to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Your support means a lot to us, so please remember to Superman punch that like and subscribe button, follow the show, also the network, the GSMC Sports Network. We have a great show for you today on tap. We have our WWE Monday Night Raw review. We also have our NXT preview. Then we're going to jump into the Chad Gable and Bo Dallas promo that happened on Monday Night Raw. We're going to dig deep into that. A little bit of analysis, a little bit of my professional opinion. I'm just kidding. No, I'm not that snotty. Segment four, we're going to talk about, just a question. Definitely would love for you guys to participate in this segment. Segment number four, we're going to talk about. I don't know why WWE is kind of taking a little longer than it kind of, than needs to be, like in terms of like pulling the trigger for Jey Uso. Like I get it. There's a whole bunch of talent on the Monday Night Raw roster. Not the easiest part because of being a WWE superstar. And fifth and finally, today is July 16th, 2024. We're going to jump into my time machine. Tuesdays today in wrestling history. I'm going to take you back in wrestling history on this day of July 16th. So, yeah, we have a pretty awesome show for you today. But before we move on to any of that, I want to remind you guys to use the tips and donations link at the GSMCpodcast.net. Shoot me your comments, questions, and concerns. Tell me what you like, tell me what you don't like. Really does help the show, guys. Here at the GSMC Sports Network, we do love a lot of peace, love, and positivity. So don't be scared. Don't be too shy. There's no such thing as a wrong chat. It's professional wrestling. You can state opinions here. It's obviously subjective, not totally objective in terms of reporting, in terms of journalism and stuff like that. So let's just have fun. Let's have fun. Talk about all things wrestling. Maybe give me some of your insights on wrestling, maybe that I don't know. Also, give me some of your opinions about promos and all the stuff we're going to talk about. So, yeah, remember the link is at the GSMCpodcast.net. All right, so we're going to jump into our segment number one. Excuse me. Monday Night Raw. Monday Night Raw, we kicked off with Rhea Ripley coming out looking mad as hell. Mommy's back. Mommy's back with a vengeance and just wants to tear apart Liv Morgan. She even said straight up, she's like, all right, Dominic Mysterio, what he's doing right now, yeah, he's effing up, but and I want my title back. I want my title back. Just means, I kind of got a little bit of a maybe like a leeway, or not a leeway, but maybe like a foreshadowing of why exactly Dominic Mysterio will stab Rhea Ripley in the back come SummerSlam. Um, Dominic Mysterio wasn't put first; he was put later. Obviously, the WWE Women's World Heavyweight Championship is way more, important to Rhea Ripley than Dominic Mysterio. So maybe if Liv Morgan wins in SummerSlam, because there's no way she's gonna win cleanly. Every single match she's won on her quest, or the Liv Revenge tour, has been absolutely, just cheap, just terrible, terrible, terrible matches. So for her to have a chance at winning the women's, for retaining the WWE World Women's Heavyweight Championship, she's gonna need some help. She's going to need some help. Ultimately, this is, probably going to start with the whole Dominic Mysterio, Liv Morgan thing. And, a new Judgment Day will be prevailed. And then eventually you're going to see Damien Priest, maybe Rhea Ripley get bounced out a little bit. Liv Morgan in, Rhea Ripley out. But that's that was funny. Liv Morgan, she was like talking about Dominic Mysterio. She's like, honestly, I did not know what you really saw in him. Then I looked into his eyes, and like, I just took him because I wanted to hurt you, kind of thing. And it was like, I feel bad for, I feel bad for Dominic, man. He's kind of sending off the side. He's like, all right, so, screw me, right? Like, I'm just some ugliest guy here, you know what I mean? Like, but no, it was, Dominic Mysterio came out holding a black rose, saying "Mamacita, Mamacita," clearly kind of, hitting the promo like Eddie Guerrero and China did back in the Attitude Era kind of days. So I thought that was definitely kind of crazy. Liv Morgan also had this to say. She said, "What her and Dominic Mysterio have is more real than what they've had, throughout the Judgment Days and stuff like that." And then that's when Rhea Ripley was like, "All right, Liv, I'm going to challenge you to a match at SummerSlam." And Liv accepted it. She accepted it. And I think she ultimately accepts it because she knows, like, what's going to happen. I bet 1,010% Dominic Mysterio is going to jump on the Liv Morgan bandwagon. He was kind of giving in near the end anyway before Mommy came back. And yeah, and like what we kind of mentioned before about him not coming first, instead it's the woman's title. It's going to prove, just like, another reason, another reason. All right, next we have Sheamus taking on Bronson Reed. This match was, it was pretty good. Ultimately, it's pretty good. I've heard a lot of, lashback on Sheamus's new, on his new theme song, his new entrance. I didn't think it was too bad. I didn't think it was too bad at all. Obviously, Bronson Reed and Sheamus in the Intercontinental Championship picture. Had a good match, but at the end of the match, you ultimately saw the main story was the former Battling Brutes. You had Pete Dunne come out. At first, it seemed like he was going to rescue Sheamus, and then kind of setting Sheamus up for that tsunami for Bronson Reed. Kind of crazy, kind of crazy. And then once again, you see a, a Judgment Day promo in the back. You see Rhea Ripley, and Damien Priest, true Judgment Day members. It feels like out of all those guys, those who has kind of, they've kind of had the better, like, weight on their shoulder kind of thing like that. And, it was kind of cool to kind of see them, together kind of doing their thing and stuff like that. And it was confirmed that Dominic Mysterio never reached out to Rhea Ripley while she was injured. So, what does that even say? What is that? That means a lot. That means a hell of a lot. It's kind of crazy. Next, we have Selena Vega takes on Sonya Deville. Sonya Deville's first in-ring match since her return. Um, but before Zelina Vega cut a pretty good promo where she mentioned Sonya Deville's face and Zoe Stark's mustache. So definitely thought that was like one of those, like, ooh, like, no, it was bad. It was not bad like it was terrible, but it was bad like, man, this girl's badass, dude. She's gonna go out there, she's gonna beat your butt, dude. So I thought that was kind of cool. Obviously, playing to the numbers game, you have that new faction with Sonya Deville, Zoe Stark, and Shayna Baszler come out on top. So then you got to beat down. You got to beat down once again. You have the numbers game pulling dividends, and once again, Zelina Vega's on her own. And then you saw Kaden Carter and Katana Chance and Lyra Valkyria came out to her rescue, which was, pretty badass. And another promo that happened after that, we had the Jey Uso trying to holla at Mommy, and it was so funny. Oh my God, it was so awesome. I loved it 1,010%. I thought it was really awesome. He was like, "Tell her to call me." Like, oh my goodness, let me yeet at her, man. Let me yeet at her. Let me holla at a girl. Like, you know what I mean? And obviously, this frustrated Dominic Mysterio and Damian Priest was kind of like egging it on. He was like, "You know what, Dom? You can't let this happen. You can't let Jay talk about Mommy like that. Like, you got to go out there and, you got to, defend her honor. You know what I mean?" But, the match was, we're going to get into that a little later. Then we had a promo also, Chad Gable, talking about the Wyatt Six, and he's going to call Bo Dallas out tonight on Monday Night Raw. And we'll talk about, how that all went down in our next segment. Then you saw Drew. You saw Damien Priest and Gunther come face to face inside of the ring. Both competitors look very, very confident. And, obviously, both of them are probably the two hottest stars on Monday Night Raw right now. Gunther, ever since, becoming the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion, passing the Honky Tonk Man at 666 days. He obviously has a lot. He has a lot to prove. He feels like he's the best superstar, and by all means, he has a case. He can plead his case. Damien Priest, I got to be honest, love Damien Priest. The crowd is starting to kind of warm up to him right now. WWE really has to pay attention, has to be really delicate in this situation because, if they want to make Damien Priest a babyface, they have to ultimately get the crowd to, I don't want to say hate all the other competitors who he's going to fight, because you can't really get the fans to hate Seth Rollins right now. It's kind of hard because you do have your Gunther heads out there. A lot of people do respect Gunther and love, his wrestling matches. Most of his matches get like an 10-star rating, Dave Meltzer and stuff like that. So, definitely love seeing Gunther inside the ring. He can hold a title, no doubt. They came face to face. Gunther has some pretty hardcore, hurtful things to say, saying Damian Priest's parents didn't love him enough to support him and let him walk out and fight in the streets. And then he called Damian Priest some street trash. So yeah, no, that was got pretty personal. Got pretty personal. They got face to face, and then once when once when they were gonna beat each other up, then you start heard the monster among men, the theme song that's heard all around the world. Like man, that's crazy. And then you had Braun Strowman taking on Damien Priest. I thought overall this was a well booked match. I would probably give it maybe like a 4 out of 5 stars because once when you saw Braun Strowman hit that barricade and you saw him holding his knee and stuff like that, you automatically knew that it was like, all right, now we kind of have an out. Now we can kind of give Damian Priest like a strategic edge, you know what I mean? Which isn't anything against Damian Priest. Not taking away his abilities or anything like that. Um Kind of crazy. I thought Damian Priest honestly really needed this win. He needed to win it cleanly. He hit the, South of Heavens choke slam, killed it, covered Braun Strowman for that 1, 2, 3. Bam, Damian Priest beats Braun Strowman. And then after the match, you saw Gunther come out once again, and he was slapped by Gunther. Gunther, I feel like Gunther could ultimately put over Damian Priest. Obviously, this huge win on Monday Night Raw was huge for Damian Priest. A win over the Ring General at SummerSlam can damn well solidify Damian Priest as a legitimate WWE World Heavyweight Champion, which I would like to see. I feel like the only person I want to see him lose that title to is Finn Balor. To be honest, if anybody does it, if he's a bridge champion for like anybody else, like CM Punk, Drew McIntyre, or even Seth Rollins, I feel like it'd be bad for WWE and for them to have a good booking, having this, Judgment Day implode, you would eventually have, Finn Balor fighting Damian Priest for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. All right, so then you saw what was next? What was next? Oh, you saw that promo between Alpha Academy and Xavier Woods where Chad Gable thought Alpha Academy was talking about him, but they want to help out Xavier Woods. Then we saw, Caden Carter and Katana Chance lose against Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark. We saw this one coming. It was mostly needed by this new faction created by Sonya Deville for all three of these superstars. And, it's time for their career to kind of have a jumping off point, so to speak. That we had Drew McIntyre was supposed to apologize to two referees. Not really hard. But he said the reason why Drew keeps losing his championships is because the referees turn a blind eye. Adam Pearce can't doesn't do his job. He just turns a blind eye as well. And he uses that rage, and he was like, "I'm not apologizing for anything. You guys should be apologizing on your hands and knees to me." And then you saw Seth Rollins come out, help knock Drew McIntyre outside the ring. Drew McIntyre, it's still indefinitely suspended. So we had the latest Wyatt Six video. We had Eric Rowan come out talking about the Wyatt family. Absolutely, devastated. And he did lose brothers. Like he did lose brothers. Obviously, it started with Luke Harper, Brody Lee. Then you have not Brody Lee. I think I can don't quote me on that. We also have Bray Wyatt. Um, Not easy. Not easy. You know Eric Rowan was one of the original Wyatt family members and stuff like that. Like, and it's just like losing all these. It's not. These guys were close. These guys were close. Um, I think Bray Wyatt was the godfather to Luke Harper's son or something like that. Don't quote me on that. I think I might have read that somewhere. But these guys, although they did come up together and although it is just, choreographed and stuff like that, just you still get close. You still get close to the people you work with. And obviously these guys had a stronger bond than just coworkers. They were, more than that. All right, next we have Dominic Mysterio going against Jey Uso. We all kind of knew this match was just going to be a reason for Dominic Mysterio to kind of screw it up a little bit more. Liv Morgan comes out to help out Dominic. She mounts Dominic once again. Then Rhea Ripley comes out. And, Jay, at the end of the match, while Rhea Ripley was leaving, on her way backstage, she, kept doing be like, call me yeet. Like, I thought that was funny as hell. I definitely love that. Um, and then Jey Uso took to social media and he posted, if she needs a shoulder to cry on, we can take it slow. We can go to a Waffle House. And it was just like, dude, it's just so crazy. I love it. I love it 1,010%. They saw a promo with Rhea Ripley telling Dominic Mysterio, I belong to nobody. You're mine. Like, you know what I mean? So, kind of, giving some reassurance to Dominic Mysterio and getting him a little excited. He seemed like he smiled after his well-fought match with Jey Uso, so I thought that was kind of funny. Dom felt happy. And then we had the main event. Main event was, kind of a letdown. But we all knew what was going to happen. You had that promo with Adam Pearce, sending Bron Breakker home. Bron Breakker was like, man, I know the exit. I'm on my way out. You saw Ilja Dragunov and Sami Zayn having a good match. They were having a pretty good match, but then you saw Bron Breakker come out. Ultimately, just not really any surprise. Not really any surprise. We are heading toward a triple threat match against Ilja Dragunov, Bron Breakker, and Sami Zayn at WWE SummerSlam. So, some good stuff to look forward to. All right, guys. So, hey, do not go anywhere. We're going to move on to our next segment. We're going to talk about our WWE NXT. Well, they don't even like being called WWE anymore. They're their own branch. It's NXT. We have the NXT preview coming up after this commercial break. So, hey, stay tuned.